Hey y'all, Chemology here. Welcome to Chemology. I 5 days ago decided I was going to start sharing my thoughts and things in video format where I have previously largely or exclusively, almost exclusively been a writer. And I've decided that I want to try sharing those things in a different format. So here we are. I start each thing with a little pretext so you know where it's coming from, which was that, and then get into a topic. So yesterday was Easter and I let myself not do a video. And then today wondering, should I do 2 videos to catch up or just let it be? And these are the kinds of questions that I feel I am constantly asking myself. So we'll see where that goes today because there's a lot also on the agenda or my plate of things that I want to get done today as well. So I felt like a topic for today would be good, or I just felt like let's talk about what's actually going on. And it's a good continuation of the topic for episode 4. Episode or exhibit? I'm not sure which one I want to use. I like the word exhibit. Episode is a little more common in the space, and I like the idea of exhibit that you show, case, or put on display, and usually it's used in like an art exhibit. But if we're humans as art, which I believe I am art, the things that I do are art, and not necessarily in the traditional or conventional sense like a painting or a piece of pottery, but our lives are art. So I think I resonate with exhibits. So let's go with that. This is exhibit 4 and day 5, and we'll see if I make an extra video today. And the topic on exhibit 3 was authenticity. And when I say what's been going on, yesterday was Easter, which is a holiday not everyone celebrates, and not even really me, other than people that are in my life celebrate it, and so therefore I celebrate it. And this will be challenging to talk about because as much as I like to talk about anything and or I like to think that I'm down to talk about anything and share anything about myself, when it comes to sharing things that include other people, that gets sticky. And the thing that I want to try to talk about is essentially family, I guess, or like in this case, I guess it seems like holidays bring up things like this, like family and feelings of like have to see or do things that maybe you don't want to do, or maybe that's just me. I have a long history of not being close to extended family, and or a lifetime long history. Most of my life I've not been close to extended family, and have had lots of feelings and experiences of like don't want to go to this thing or that thing, or and it's not just family, it's also anything. Family just comes up because yesterday was a holiday and Easter, and it is it normal that you see family? I hate saying things like this because it's so much assumption in it, but it is. I do live in this country and that does seem normal, so I should probably just say it. Anyway, the topic is how do you navigate when you feel like you have to do something that you don't want to do? And maybe this isn't a big deal to a lot of people because you feel like there's lots of things that you have to do and you do that you don't really like to do, and that's just part of your life. But for me, with my biggest value, or the biggest thing I resonate and organize my life around being authenticity, part of that is that you are regularly, constantly in contact with yourself about what you like, what you don't like, what you want, what you don't want. And a lot of the philosophy I built around that is to not do things that you don't want to do. Don't do things that are going to make you feel bad or resentful, or just like, what if you don't do shit you don't want to do? And in exploring that space, which is probably another topic, I have really come to the point where most of the things in my life, I don't do things I don't want to do. And that doesn't mean that I never feel something like that that I don't want to do, but it does mean that in the hierarchy of all the things, I eventually get to a place where I do want to do something that might start as like a not that excited about type thing. And the one place that feels like it consistently gets challenged, where it's like the only topic or area in my life where I feel like I'm not really holding that standard for myself is things like doing stuff, social things, human relationship type stuff, where you feel an expectation, or it's good or necessary for you to do a thing, that when you're just like naturally in it, like, I don't want to fucking do that thing. I don't want to go to that thing. I don't want to engage with that person. I know that person's going to be there and I don't really care to have a relation or a bigger relationship with them. So I'm probably doing one of the things I hate, which is you're vague about something. I really dislike that kind of thing when we're sharing, and I guess I shouldn't, because I believe so bigly in sharing that if you're sharing anything, that it's probably better than sharing nothing from that type of perspective. But if you're sharing but you're being so vague that no one really can understand what you're talking about, or there's something there for me. So how can I talk about it without putting like people on blast who might watch my video, is an interesting space for me. So how to talk about that. If authenticity is doing what you really want to do, and as much work and perspectivizing as you do on something, you're like, I just really don't want to do this. What am I supposed to do? Like, do I go against my value system and do something that I don't believe is good, but I do it because I feel like I should or have to, or it's good in another way that isn't as high or significant in my value system? These are the kinds of questions that I'm trying to pose, or that I am posing. And one thing that I said yesterday in discussing this with my partner that felt like a pretty good example. He was saying that it seems like in an area of our life, we were kind of on the same page about just accepting what things were, not trying to improve a situation, not trying to grow a situation, but just letting it be as it is. And he commented that he thought that I had gone from being in that position to actively disinterested. Like, disinterest was different in acceptance. And I thought about that and it didn't feel good, because it was like, I felt like how I was feeling about the situation might be hard or hurtful or hurt his feelings, or maybe I should be being a better partner, being different about the situation. And I came up with an example that felt pretty aha for me, that helped clarify it. It might seem like an obvious thing, but it really helped in my situation. So to that comment, I said, when there's something that you're not trying to improve in your life, there's something in your life that is not interesting, not something that you want to be better or bigger or be better at, what do you do with those things? What do you do with the things that you're not interested in improving or being better at or having bigger relationship with? What do you do with those things? And he didn't have an answer. And I said, that's it. That's right. You don't do anything. You actually probably don't have any examples of that. And he actually said, I think outside of the topic that we're talking about, which is family, there isn't anything like that. And I said, that's exactly kind of the point that I am attempting to make, is that family or significant relationships are the outlier to that. And so if it makes sense for you to say, if you can wrap your brain around the fact that like anything you're not interested in, you're not investing your time and energy into. And it's kind of hard to think about, because you're like, well, what am I not interested in? What am I doing that with? Because if you're not interested, you're not even aware of it, right? But because family, you have to have these relationships or do these things, you have to time and energy in something that you may otherwise not be interested in. And maybe interested in isn't the right way to put it, but like, if you have a really hard, really bad relationship with your dad, hard, bad, challenging, whatever, and you have done enough work to know that you are okay with not having a bigger relationship with him, but there's still a standard or expectation in your bigger family or even in yourself that you still gotta do something, whether it's go to a birthday or a holiday or whatever it is. You do that thing despite that it's in conflict with your every other way that you approach life. And blood is thicker than water, and family is always family, or whatever it is. These are the things that I think lead us to feeling those things when I'm not sure that's best good for anyone. And the hard time I have is still feeling those feelings despite feeling I have otherwise figured this out for myself in my own life, but that I make these exceptions in this space because that's not lost on me or beyond me to still feel what I feel like is a pretty common feeling. And so, but it does lead to me feeling like I am being incongruent with myself or betraying myself and my values. So if my biggest value is authenticity and I feel I have to go to a thing where I'm not being authentic because I'm not trying to grow these relationships, or I feel like people don't care about me there, so why do I keep trying in these relationships with other humans, or that person doesn't understand me, or whatever it is in your life that is a human relationship dynamic, and you've just decided I'm okay with not having a big relationship or a better or a good or a high level relationship with this person, but I have to spend time with them because I have to go to Easter. What do you do with that? So maybe nobody else is experiencing this because nobody else cares about being authentic or has their values figured out, or maybe you do, but you haven't thought about it that way. Whatever it is, just trying to talk about a thing that is not really a hard thing for me to talk about, but when I think about the fact that someone might feel like that it was about them, I guess that would be another instance of me not being authentic, because if I'm afraid of them seeing it, I'm not afraid, but I'm not sure that I feel the need to have that conversation. Like, there's a difference between having a feeling and wanting to share it with others who may resonate, and going to an individual and being like, yeah, I'm just not trying to have a big relationship with you anymore, so it's hard for me to come to Easter. That's a very different thing, right? Like, I don't feel the need to express that, but maybe there's something there for me too. What are your thoughts? What are your questions? What stood out? What didn't stand out? You won't notice that part, which is interesting. It's part of the whole, like, what you're not interested in, what do you do with that stuff? But what you are interested in, there's something there for you. So if you had a standout, if anything stood out, think about that. Why did it stand out? And then if you want to go even further, like, what are you going to do with it? If it stood out, it's probably for a reason. What are you going to do with it? Leave a comment, ask a question. I like questions. Thanks for listening. Ciao for now.